Meeting with Sebastian, the co-founder and the CEO of Plei.
Yep, CEO.
Can you give us just a brief intro of what Plei is?
Definitely. So Play is a mobile app specifically for soccer players. And essentially, our whole mission is that soccer should be on demand, that you should be able to go play soccer anytime, anywhere you want without having to depend on other people. So on our platform, we essentially connect you with other players around your neighborhood. We connect you with fields that are available, and then we host games. And then in 2 clicks, you're able to join different soccer games around your area.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So what kind of gave you the inspiration of starting the app?
Yeah, so I've been playing soccer my whole life, and kind of as I got older, I started realizing that a lot of people didn't have the access to this beautiful game that I luckily did growing up. Because growing up, I played in competitive leagues, and then from that, you build a group of friends that you kind of play with throughout the years. But not a lot of people have that access. So, for example, like if you're just traveling or you just moved to a city, you may not know anybody, but you have that passion. You want to go out and play. Yeah, there's just not really like an easy way to go ahead and do that. So for me, it was just I wanted to share, the passion of soccer and the happiness that it's brought me and the whole communal feel to as many people as possible. So yeah, my whole vision was, let's make soccer on demand as easy as ordering an Uber. That's always been like the benchmark for us.
Now, when you say on demand, that's a two-sided marketplace. So you have to deal with the actual gyms and dealing with the players. What was your strategy in making that flywheel work? Was it going after making a relationship with the gyms, or did you have to go and build that demand for the players?
Yeah, for sure. So when we first started, we kind of took a look at the whole industry and try to figure out what's the best way to connect players with soccer facilities. And you're right, the way that we ended up doing that was on a two-sided marketplace. So essentially, what we did is we first built out another platform called the Play System, which essentially is an all-in-one management system that's built specifically for soccer facilities. So on that platform, soccer facilities are able to kind of manage their whole operation. So they're able to manage all their field bookings. They're able to process payments through there. And we give them a variety of reports that make managing their operations just very seamless. And so that was a good way to kind of connect with the facilities and to have access to their inventory, which is their schedule. And then based on that, then we built the mobile app, which basically what we do is we fill up fields for our partner facilities at times that are always going unreserved. So if we notice, for example, like a 7 p.m. on a Tuesday is always empty, we'll go ahead and book it for them, and we'll put that game on the Play app, and then we'll connect the players and fill up that game. So it's great for our partner facilities, right? Because we're able to generate more business for them on unused inventory while giving players access to kind of play anytime that they want. So yeah, I did a lot of research before embarking on this journey. And what I realized was that we definitely needed to have that two-sided marketplace in order for this to work out.
Yeah, that's awesome because I've been taking a look at your website too and social media, of course. Do you break it up into different like modes of sports? I notice it's like futsal. Do you like break it up like 7-on-7, 11-on-11, or like what's for you from you doing it? What is the most popular mode of soccer being played, and then like what kind of demographic is coming out to use your app to come play? Is it people that play in leagues? Is it people that was like former pros? Like what is the makeup of your audience for Plei?
So we try to be very broad, right? So we try to be open to any type of skill level. And so each game has its own skill level. So we'll have games that are for beginners. We'll have games for, let's say, intermediate, so, kind of a regular level. Then we'll have games for high level players. And then we have an exclusive game that's called Masters. And you kind of need to kind of prove that, you're at a very top level to be able to be in that game. But we try to do it in a way where we don't discriminate from players that just want to go out and play, right? They're just, maybe they never played their whole life, but they want to go out and try it out. So we try to kind of expand the service to everybody that's just interested in going and playing. And then from there, we try to make the experience very curated. So, if a player is going to go out and be matched with other players that are at similar skill levels, then we'll have a higher chance of them having a good experience. And in doing that, they'll be able to come back onto the app, because if they have a good experience, and in any business, if you have a good experience with the service, ideally they'll keep coming back. And then in terms of like demographics, like nationalities, so that's actually one of the questions that we ask players when they get onboarded is, what's your nationality? And we actually have players from all over the world. It's very interesting because a lot of people tell me, oh, you probably have like, a bunch of Hispanics on the app, people that don't really know too much about the industry. And it's actually the opposite. We have a lot of players from South America, but we have a bunch from North America, a bunch from Europe. And I think that speaks volume to this sport, right? That it's a global game, and it's the most popular sport in the world. And it's sports in general is so beautiful because it's something that doesn't have barriers. It doesn't have it's just something that brings people together. And I think that's something that's
Yeah, that was gonna get to my next point too. You're down there in Miami, and I noticed that you have some partner facilities out in Houston too. But what's your long-term vision of Plei App? Is it going nationally, internationally? What is your rollout plan? Because if you have people in Miami, which is a hub for people in the Caribbean, people in Europe, South America, you could just imagine like them, spreading the word back home. So like, what is your plans nationally, internationally in terms of expansion?
Yeah, so our long-term vision, our long-term plan is to be a global company. We essentially want to be like the Facebook of soccer. And we're starting off in a market that's an emerging market, right? Because the United States, soccer is not the most popular sport here in the States, but it is growing at a rapid pace. But you have continents like Europe, South America, Asia, where soccer is very prevalent. And so we kind of take a step-by-step approach. So like we know that there's this opportunity to go international, but we try not to get too caught up in it because we're focused, we're laser focused on the short term, which essentially is to keep expanding nationally. And so our goal for this year was to expand to 10 major markets here in the States. And then of course the coronavirus hit and everything changed, which we've been trying to be, as productive as possible during this time so we can come back even stronger once everything's back to normal. But yeah, our plan is definitely to scale to the major markets in the US and then to expand internationally, which we don't know what the first country will be after the States, but something tells me it's going to be somewhere in Europe. But we feel like the only way to get there is to be a technology company, right? And we don't see ourselves as a pickup app. We see ourselves as a technology company where we're building out technology that really automates the entire process of connecting this industry and basically managing supply and demand at the most optimal level, while providing players with a very curated experience, and just connecting them in a way that feels like a social platform, right? Because sports is very social, and you go out and you meet people and you have a good time, and it'd be great if you can add them as a friend afterwards. You can message them, and you create this whole community. And I think that there's a lot of potential in that, not only in soccer but in basketball as well. There's a huge potential in that. So yeah, I think we're on the right path, you and I.
Nice. That was my next question. Soccer is very successful. Have you ever thought about venturing out in different verticals, like different sports? You got the facilities. I'm pretty sure they play more than soccer in there. Have you thought about going to different sports?
Yeah, definitely. So when I thought about the name, I came up with the name Plei to pick something that wasn't just for soccer, so that in the future we can kind of have that option if we wanted to branch out. So like play volleyball, play tennis. The thing is that each sport, and I'm sure you guys know, each sport has its own set of problems and its own, set of necessities. And for us right now, we're just laser focused on soccer. We want to grow this thing internationally. And then we feel like once we're at a global scale, then we can start thinking about branching out. So kind of the same way that like Uber expanded globally and then thought about doing Uber Eats, and then now doing like Uber Air with like, the drones and everything. And so that's kind of the same approach that we're taking. We're focused like on a niche that we know very well. And then eventually we might expand, but we'll only do so if it's the right opportunity for the business and for our clients and customers.
Cool. Yeah, you kind of rolled into the question about the coronavirus. This is a active business that we're in. So like, is there any new like, I don't know, like new findings that you have like during this time where, you know, the facilities are shut off? Is there any new like strategies or approaches? Like for example, with us, we just been going to content and really trying to focus on like just building up like, you know, brand equity and you know, doing it that way. But since we're like in so much unsure times, like is there anything that you and your business partner look at for another on a business opportunity or another lane that Plei could like really take advantage in?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the biggest thing we've been up to during the coronavirus is we kind of just been laser focused on building upon the platform that we have. So right before the coronavirus hit, we were hosting about 350 games a month, and you know, in total we've hosted over 3,000 games, and so we've had a lot of experience in terms of kind of what we feel like the product needs to keep scaling. And so that's been our biggest priority. Like when we thought about everything at the beginning, we were like, okay, should we spend a lot of energy focusing on different verticals, or should we just focus on just build on our platform so that when we come back, everybody's wowed and they're like, oh my God, like, you know, this is crazy. You know, and that's kind of the plan that we have right now. But of course, it's been long enough where we have thought about, you know, other different verticals. So we have plans to host a FIFA tournament with our community on PlayStation and Xbox as a way to engage with them. We have an idea of kind of hosting training sessions virtually with our community and kind of like doing something called like Train with Plei, where essentially we'll teach you different like training regimens that you can do at home. And all that is great as a way to engage with your community. But for us, our main priority is the software and just building on that. So that once everything is back to normal, we're really ready to not only wow our current customers, but to keep expanding on the platform and keep growing and scaling. I think that for the long term, that's what makes the most sense. And we were very, very fortunate that right before the virus hit, we were able to close on our seed round. So we like, just like on the luck of God and the universe, you know, thankfully we're going to be okay during this pandemic and see this thing through. So yeah, I think the best way right now for us to engage with our community is to keep building so that once we get back, they're just like, oh my God, like, what is this? So although Houston actually opened up today. Today's the first day that there's a few facilities in Houston that opened up.
Okay.
With like certain guidelines and protocols. So yeah, we're hosting a couple games today. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. Hopefully, you know, we're not putting any lives in risk or anything like that.
Right, cool. Donte, you got any more questions there? Yeah, one more thing. How is the startup scene down in Miami? Like, is it a very supportive community? Is it, you see a lot of other startups that's trying to go down the same avenue as you? Like, I was just wondering, what's the scene like out there?
Yeah, so Miami is definitely growing as a tech hub. There's a lot of different companies that are doing very innovative things to help startups. Because I think what we were lacking before is the whole infrastructure for startups. So like having a community of developers, having a community of venture capitalists, angel investors, and those are all things that are being worked on right now and have been worked on for the past, I would say, 5 to 10 years. And so we're definitely better off now than we were in the past. There is still ways to go, but we've been very fortunate to have certain groups here in Miami be very supportive of us. For example, Florida International University, FIU, which is a local university here in Miami. Mm-hmm. They've been super supportive with us, and they've kind of incubated us and given us their mentorship and their advice. And yeah, we're like completely indebted to them for everything they've done for us. But in general, yeah, the startup scene is growing a lot here in Miami. I think we have, you know, big potential here in the long term.
Man, that's cool. All right, yeah. Sebastian, that wraps up our podcast. You're the founder of Plei App, over 350 games between Miami and Houston.
Just Orlando, Florida.
Oh, and Orlando, Florida, and it's growing. You have a wonderful platform with two-sided marketplace servicing facilities with the Plei system. Plei system, as well as having a dynamic app that within 2 clicks get players to get on the field and play the game that they love. So, Sebastian, you have anything you like to plug before we get out of here?
What's that? I'm sorry?
You have anything you like to plug before we get out of here?
Just thank you guys for having us. Really appreciate it. We are huge supporters of what you guys are doing. Ever since I saw you guys on Shark Tank, I've been following you guys. And when you guys DM'd us initially, I was like, oh, that's amazing. And yeah, man, it's been great to see your growth. And I'm sure, we're both going to kill it in our own vertical. So thank you guys for having us.
Right on. All right, Sebastian, appreciate it. You have a good one.
You as well.